I am starting with a back pattern, and I have the shoulder line, the chest line, bust line, waist line, and the full length of the jacket. Shoulder to the chest line is at 9 inches, to the bust line is 11 inches, to the waistline is at 16 inches, and to the full length of the jacket is at 26 inches. So I've marked my shoulder measurements divided by 2, I've taken in the bust measurements divided by 4, and I've connected the armhole. I used a neck width of 3 inches, and I'll make use of a neck depth of 1 inch, and I'll connect with a curve. The next step is to tighten the center back. On the waistline, I'll go in by 0.75 and I'll connect to the top and bottom like you see me doing. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4 and I'll add 1 inch allowance for that. At the full length line, I'll go in with the hip measurements divided by 4. I'll bring in my curved ruler now and connect the 3 points together. At the side hem, I'll go up by 1 inch. This is just to create a bit of curve on the side. The next step is to mark the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. I'll mark it on the waistline. And from the chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch. At the full length line, I'll go up by 2 inches and I'll connect the points together with a straight line. I added 1 inch allowance for that. That means I'll take ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg and I'll connect to the top and bottom like so. At the shoulder, I'll divide what I have there into 2 and get the midpoint. I'll make a mark at the midpoint and connect with a straight line to the dart leg. Also, I'll connect it to the bottom. Label your pattern, the side back and the center back, and you can also point arrows. That is all on the back pattern. I'll cut it out now. For the front pattern, the first thing you're going to do is to leave a space of at least 5 inches at the top of the paper before the shoulder line, and on the side you need to leave about 2 inches there. Shoulder to the chest line is 9 inches, to the bust line is 11 inches, to the waistline is 16 inches, and to the full length of the jacket is at 26 inches. I have taken in the bust measurement divided by 4, I have connected the armhole, and the neck width I used there is about 3 inches, and I'll be using a neck depth of 3 inches, and I'll connect that with a curve. On the waistline, I'll go in with the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. I'll also mark it on the bust line, and at the full length line, I'll go up by 2 inches and I'll connect that into a straight line. Next, I'll go out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg at the waistline and I'll connect the top and bottom like so. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4 and I'll add 1 inch allowance for the dart we already took. At the full length line, I'll go in with the hip measurements divided by 4. I'll connect those 3 points together with my curved ruler. Also at the hem, I'll go up by 1 inch, same thing we did with the back pattern. Get the midpoint at the shoulder and make a mark there, and you're going to connect from that midpoint to the dart leg with a straight line. Also connect to the bottom. The next step is to mark the button allowance. So from the neckline, I'll mark 1 inch all the way to the bottom of the paper and connect with a straight line. I want the waistline of this jacket to be the break point of the lapel. So from the waistline, I'll go up by 1 inch, And I'll bring my curved ruler and connect from the bottom of the jacket to that 1-inch mark at the top of the waistline. I am trying to create a curve at the center front of the jacket. This curve I am creating is totally optional. If you don't want yours to be curvy at this part, you can skip it. But make sure you blend well. If you are creating a curve, blend well like you see me doing with a marker. The next step is to connect from the neckline to this 1-inch mark above the waistline. I'll connect with my ruler. And this point is where the button will be. This jacket will only have one button and it will be at this point. I'll bring in the back now so that we can measure what we have on the neckline of the back pattern. That is what we'll use as the front extension. So whatever I have there, I have about 3.5 there, and that is what I am marking from the neck point there. So mark that in a slant form and also come out by 1/2 inch and connect with a straight line. The collar width I'll be using here is 3.5. That is what I'm marking, and I'll come in with my ruler and make it straight. I'll come in with my curved ruler now and connect from the top there to the neck point. After connecting that, I'll connect from the neck point to the break point of the jacket. That is all on this front pattern. Don't forget, this jacket will have one button and this is the point where you're going to fix it. And label your pattern, the center front, the side front, and also point arrows facing each other. I'll cut it out now. I have transferred the front patterns to fabric. I added 1/2 inch all around the pattern, but for the part that will be joined to the back, that is the side front, I added 1 inch. I used a black crepe fabric for the lining of the center front, but for the side front, I used just a basic lining. For the center front, you can decide to use the same fabric for the main fabric and the lining, depending on how you want it, and you can decide to mix up the colors like I did with mine. These are my back pieces and I've also transferred to fabric. I added 1/2 inch allowance all around the pattern except for the side joining where I added 1 inch. And this is what we have. I have cut out my lining piece also. So at this point, you can decide to go ahead and iron interfacing your hairstay to all your lining pieces. You can decide to do that, but it is optional. For this project, I won't be adding any interfacing to my lining, but I would advise that you do that if you are making this for a client or even for yourself. The next step is to arrange all the pieces the same way I am going to stitch. So first off, I'll pin the center back together and go ahead and use 1/2 inch to stitch it. Then I'll pin each of the side pieces, the side back to the center back. Make sure that the right side is facing each other, and I'll do the same thing to the other piece. Go ahead and stitch all of the pieces together with 1/2 inch. Whatever process I am doing to the main fabric, I'll repeat the same thing on the lining piece. So go ahead and do the same thing you're doing on your main fabric to your lining pieces. For my front pieces, I'll take out the patterns and also pin each of the pieces together. I'll set the lining aside first and pin the main fabric together. Don't forget, whatever process you are doing to the main fabric, you are going to repeat exactly the same thing on your lining. So I'll pin the side front to the center front, right side facing each other, and I'll go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing to the other side piece and I'll pin it together and stitch it with 1/2 inch. This is the lining for the back pieces. After stitching, go ahead and press all the seam flat. For the front lining also, I have pressed the seam flat and I'm going to go ahead and join it together at the top with 1/2 inch. This is the main fabric for the back and I've also pressed all the seam flat. And for the front pieces, I have also pressed the seam flat and I'll go ahead and join it with 1/2 inch at the top. After I was done joining, this is what we have. The next step is to join the front and the back together. So after joining, make sure that you press the seam flat and you're going to place the front and the back together. Make sure that the right side is facing each other. You're going to join the front and the back together along the neckline and the shoulder. First, pin the joining you have on the front pieces to the center back. Pin it there and take it all the way around the neckline and the shoulder. So that you can easily pin it round. Notch that corner you have there. You can notch about 1/2 inch, and after notching you realize that it will be easy to pin the fabrics together. Repeat the same process on this side also. Notch it and pin the rest of the fabric together on the neckline all the way to the shoulder. I have joined the lining of both the front and the back together and this is what we have. Make sure that you notch close to the seam after stitching. This will make the collar relax well on the body. And the next step is to join the front and the back together on the side. I added 1 inch allowance for the side joining, but I will only be using 1/2 inch to join it because you need ease on your jacket. For the main fabric, this is what we have, and please, like I said earlier, make sure that you notch all around the seam so that the collar relaxes well on the body. The next step is to join the front and the back together on the side. Just like I explained with the lining, I will only use 1/2 inch to join it together. After joining, go ahead and press the seam flat for both the main fabric and the lining. But this is what the lining is looking like. You can see that the jacket is already taking shape. For the main fabric also, press your seam flat, and the next step is to join both the main fabric and the lining together. Place the main fabric on the lining. Make sure that the right side is facing each other. Just pin it all around, but while pinning, make sure that anywhere you have joining on the main fabric, make sure that it matches that of the lining. It is important. Make sure that all the joinings match on both the main fabric and the lining and pin it round. The essence of pinning it round is to make sure that everything looks okay before you stitch. And after pinning, I'll take it to the sewing machine and stitch it all around. After stitching, I'll bring it out from the armhole because that is the only part that will be opened. After stitching, I'll notch all around the seam. Please notch all around the seam, and you can add hemming gum to the bottom of the jacket. I added hemming gum to mine so that the lining doesn't come out from the bottom. Bring it out from the armhole now, and I will take it to the ironing table and press it properly. For the sleeve part, I'll be making use of a basic sleeve pattern. If you would like to use a 2-piece pattern for this jacket, I have the tutorial on my channel. You can go ahead and use a 2-piece sleeve, but for this project, I'll just be making use of a basic sleeve. For the basic sleeve also, I have a tutorial on my channel for it. I've cut out my lining for the sleeves, and I'll place the lining on the main fabric and go ahead and stitch the bottom. After stitching the bottom, I'll open it up like this and go ahead and join the sides together. I'll do the same thing for the second sleeve. This is after I was done pressing the jacket. Like I said earlier, you can use hemming gum to press the bottom of the jacket, and this is what the inside of the jacket is looking like. The next step is to fix in our sleeves. Now for the sleeve, I am going to fix the lining of the sleeve first to the lining of the jacket. And after fixing lining to lining, I'll go ahead and fix the main fabric of the sleeve to the armhole. But first, I'll open up a bit of space at the center back lining. I think about 6 inches there. The reason why I'm opening this part at the center back is because after fixing both sleeves, the only part where you can be able to turn it out is the space I am opening now. Bring in your sleeves now. I'll first fix the lining to the lining of the jacket. You can see what the inside of the sleeve is looking like. Now use the lining first. Fix the lining of the sleeve first to the lining of the jacket. Use your pin to secure it together, and then you're going to push in the main fabric into the lining. Push the main fabric into the lining like this, so that you can have space to fix the lining of the sleeve to the lining of the jacket. I am done fixing the lining to the armhole, and this is what we have. You can see what we have on the inside, and if I bring it out, you'll see the main sleeve here. I have not fixed it to the armhole. But for this other sleeve, I have completed the sleeve, both the main fabric and the lining. The next step is just to finish up with the other sleeve. So this is why I opened the center back. You're going to bring it out from that part. After bringing it out, you're going to match the sleeve together with the main fabric and pin it around the armhole. After pinning around the armhole, go ahead and stitch it. This is after I was done stitching, and I'm just going to push it inwards like this. From that part we opened up at the center, that is where I pushed it in. Bring everything out properly, and this is what you should have. The last step is to close this place we opened on the jacket. I am just going to use my needle and thread to close it. Once we are done with that, the jacket is ready. So if you are making this for a client and the client wants a little bit of alteration, you can just open it up from that little space you have at the back and make your alterations or adjustments. And don't forget to fix your button. The buttonhole will be on the right side and the button will be on the left side. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video with your friends, subscribe, and please turn on your notification bell so you'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.